There are many potential mechanical and physical hazards in mining. In order to make the mine safe, you must recognize potential hazards and take appropriate precautions. For example, loud machinery at a mine site can be a hazard. If the hazard cannot be eliminated by engineering changes, hearing protection is provided to miners and warning signs are posted in dangerously loud areas of the mine. Now, the best way to deal with a hazard is to eliminate it. No operation, however, is going to be able to eliminate all risk.
To minimize hazards while driving large or small mobile equipment on the mine site, follow these rules. Observe traffic control and patterns at the mine. Follow posted speed limits. Remember, your vision is limited and you may be carrying huge weights. Don't follow another vehicle too close. Allow at least 150 feet between vehicles and as much as 300 feet in bad weather or when going downhill. Don't pass. Particularly, never pass on the blind side of a vehicle unless you are in contact with the operator and are certain he knows what you are doing. The right-of-way on haul roads generally goes to loaded haul trucks and vehicles traveling downhill because they are difficult to stop. Emergency equipment, like ambulances and fire trucks, always have the right-of-way. Don't enter roads that are closed off with berms or cones. Always perform pre-operation inspections on your equipment. Stationary equipment like crushers and conveyor systems also have potential hazards associated with them. All active work areas and equipment must be inspected by a competent person. Being aware of hazards can help you prevent injury to yourself and others at the mine site. Extreme care needs to be taken to protect yourself and other miners around crushers and feeders. Each mine will have specific rules, but generally, ear protection will be required around noisy crushers and feeders unless you are isolated in a booth or enclosure. Crushers and feeders should be inspected from a safe location, like an elevated booth or walkway. Proper shutdown and lockout, tagout, tryout procedures should be followed before working on the system. Don't forget to test the equipment to make sure it is not energized after it is locked out. Also, the rules for confined space will apply to most feeders and crushers. Before crushers or moving self-propelled equipment are started, the operator will sound a warning that can be heard above the surrounding noise level or use another effective method to warn anyone who could be exposed to a hazard from the equipment. If the operator can see the entire length of the belt, he or she must visibly check to ensure that everyone is in the clear before starting the conveyor. If the whole length of the conveyor cannot be seen from the starting switch, there must be a system that provides for either visible or audible warning to warn anyone in the area that the conveyor will be started. The belt must be started within 30 seconds after the warning is given, or a second warning must be given. Be aware of what the warning signals mean at your worksite and act responsibly when they are sounded. Don't ever perform maintenance on conveyors, crushers, or screens while the equipment is running unless it can't be performed any other way. Because of the obvious hazards involved, pulleys or conveyors should not be manually cleaned while the conveyor is in motion. Belt dressings, such as lubricants, should only be applied with the belt in motion if a pressurized type applicator is used that allows the dressing to be applied from outside the guard. Don't manually lubricate machinery or equipment while it is in motion unless there is no risk of injury. General cleanliness standards require all workplaces, passageways, storerooms, and service areas to be kept clean and orderly. The floor should be kept clean and as dry as possible. Water, debris, or spilled material on roadways needs to be removed if it causes a hazard to operating mobile equipment. In addition, dust, noise, gas, mist, and fume surveys will be conducted at the site as frequently as necessary to determine that the controls in place are adequate to protect you from exposure to potential hazards. Dust will be monitored for both breathing and visibility hazards. Exposure to airborne contaminants is limited to acceptable levels by 1973 ACGIH standard on threshold limit values. Respirators or other protective equipment may be required in areas of the mine where contaminant levels are high. If you are working in the dark, make sure you have adequate lighting to spot hazards. Don't work where you can't see. In dry areas, such as loading material into trucks from a stockpile, a virgin deposit, or a bench, you must monitor the slope stability constantly. It's very easy to get a false sense of security while performing these tasks. Always be alert and aware of what's happening around you.